3, 2, 1.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live.
Yes, to this day.
Take along if you know the words.
Yo, bro. All right, so Bob Arum. Let's get Exhibit A. Bob Arum. You know, Bob Arum comes from a time where they could say things and just get away with it, you know, and they still get away with it. And fighters that say, you see this picture of Terence Crawford, it says it all. It's like, yo, what have I done, man? You know what I mean? What have I done to deserve this? I beat every man in front of me. I knocked most of the guys out. You know what I mean? I sold out my hometown, Nebraska, which now haven't had a boxing champion for years. And then this guy's criticizing me. Let's see what Bob Arum actually said. Let's see what Bob Arum, what did he say? Bob Arum said that Crawford should also start promoting himself. Yeah, he compares him to several fighters such as Mayweather. I don't know why he compared him to Pacquiao. All Pacquiao did is knock guys out. He didn't really talk too much, just knock guys out. Shakur Stevenson for another guy, Crybaby. I don't know how you compare him to him. Top Rank CEO said he's got to promote like the lightweight champion Teofimo Lopez does. Yeah, he's got to promote like the featherweight champion Shakur Stevenson does. Like, you crazy, bruv. Like Mayweather did. Mayweather, we're gonna get to that one. Don't worry, we get to that one. Like Mayweather did, like Manny Pacquiao did. Yeah, when Manny Pacquiao, Bob, I asked my promoter, if you want to fight, ask my promoter. That's promoting, yeah. Okay. If he doesn't, yeah, then who the F, the F word needs him. Man, imagine this guy's reckless, bruv. He may be a great fighter in the world, yeah, but hey, ain't going bankrupt promoting him. What did you say? He lost money. How you lost money on Bud? Like, salute, bro. What's that? Oh, salute, man. What's up, man? Oh, dude, I think that's L Dude, isn't it? Is that L Dude? No, salute, Coco. What's up, Coco Don Boxing Channel? How you doing, Coco? Salute, bro. El salute there. Now, so listen this, yeah. Let's bring some exhibit. So Bob Arum is saying this guy needs to do more. He just doesn't like him. For whatever reason, he doesn't like him. Bob Arum's getting old, and he's just old and cranky and this. And I mean, in that comment, it wasn't a video. I don't know wherever he said that, but he obviously said it. I think people are very sensitive over Bob saying that they can't. How can you do that? You always fight. But listen, Bob will say these sort of things. Yeah, he says sort of things about Tim Bradley against Pacquiao. He didn't believe Tim Bradley fought that fight, so he said he won a rematch. And you know what I mean. And Tim Bradley got a lot of stick from it. Bob Arum is this. All Bob Arum cares about is the almighty dollar. Yeah, millions. That's all he cares about is money. That's all he cares about. If you're not making money for him, then he ain't ish. Now, this lockdown has affected everyone, particularly Bob Arum, because he's rich, yeah, but he likes making money. That's his joy. That's his pleasure. He likes making a lot of money. Viewership, all that stuff. He likes making money. The Terence Crawford fight, the Terence Crawford card, he wasn't promoted properly in terms of, if you look at it, yeah, there was fights finishing too early and they had too much time on the in-ring entrance. They had a lot of replays and stuff like that. It wasn't a thought-out card. One of the co-main events, what was it, a clash of heads or something like that? It got stopped early. So there was a lot of airtime that they didn't do. They didn't full fights, and there's no crowd. He's not making no money with the crowd, bringing the crowd in. And but that's not Terence Crawford. That's your fault. That's your organization. That's your fault. Let's listen to Mayweather back in the days. What Mayweather had to say to what he had to say about Mayweather back in the day, and talking about he's start promoting like Mayweather. So Exhibit A, Floyd Mayweather talking about Bob Arum talking about Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather retains the title. He really is a phenomenon.
Mayweather was still hot property, but jeopardized his future by branding a $12 million television contract slave wages.
Well, look at this. So Bob Arum gave him a $12 million $12 million contract, calling it slave wages. The reason why he called it slave wages is because, the contract had multiple fights. Yeah, I don't know how many fights he had on it. 12 million worked out like 1 million each fight. And it's like, yo, so he had a dispute. So he didn't take that. He didn't take that contract. So let's get into it. This is the problem he had with Mayweather.
That's from him being young. You don't say that as being young. That's 21 years old. I don't want to say that's slave.
He looks at an Oscar who may make as much as $20 million for a fight and says, why am I only making $3 million? Floyd has to realize that if he does the right things, his time will come.
Is he crazy, bro? If he does the right things, his time will come. So waiting around with Bob Arum, his time will come. Hell no. Hell no. No. That's what we don't. That's what we're not gonna do. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna get the hell out of Dodge is what we're gonna do, and that's exactly what Floyd Mayweather did. He bought his contract out for, I believe, $10,000 or $7,000 left of the contract, and got himself out of Dodge, man. You know what I mean? Because underneath him, all the criticism came of he ain't doing this. He should take the money. He's ungrateful, and that's where all the negativity came from. Bob Arum. Bob Arum put all that negativity on him because he didn't want to do what he wanted. That's what he did. Did it to Manny Pacquiao. Tim Bradley got a bit of it as well. Lomachenko fought to teach Lomachenko a lesson. He put Teofimo Lopez. You don't even mention Lomachenko. You don't even mention the thing no more, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bob is dread. He uses his manipulation and uses the media to put his fighters down and to get them under control. You know what I mean? And he's trying to do that with Terence Crawford. Unnecessary, trying to say that he doesn't sell when everyone can clearly see that he sells at his hometown in Nebraska. And if you keep, and then you take him to the other side of the country and put him in Vegas where there's gambling and all that stuff where you're used to making money, and obviously it's not selling out in Vegas. Of course not. Why would it sell in Vegas, but you could sell out in Nebraska, where Warren Buffett came to watch him, one of the richest men there? You know what I'm saying? It's just like he looks at him and thinks, no, I don't. That's not the type of guy. I don't want to make this a rhythm, because he has a stereotype in his mind about certain fighters, how they are. You know what I mean? Even Sugar Ray Leonard, them guys. He wants them guys looking like Sugar Ray Leonard, but he doesn't want them breaking through to the point where they don't need him no more. You know what I mean? Mayweather, that's why Mayweather got so popular. Now, Bob Arum, I don't think Terence Crawford is going to leave him from these comments, by the way. I'm just going to put it out there right now. Everyone's getting upset about it. I don't think he's going to leave him from them comments. Tim Bradley's another one. Tim Bradley could have left Bob Arum before he knew contract. We was hoping he was going to leave him and go to Al Heyman and what was it? It was go with Al Heyman and get a contract with him, and he didn't do it. He stayed with him. He's got a job in Top Rank. He does commentary. He's happy. He's getting his money. You know what I'm saying? Tim Bradley's happy. He just most of these fighters are quite easygoing guys. They just want security. You know what I mean? They all want security and they want to be respected. That's the common theme with the fighters. Bob Arum understands that, and the way he does is use the media to manipulate. And I tell you, man, it's a horrible game. But the thing is, the bottom line when it comes to Bob Arum is just controlling the money. You know what I mean? You can't say Terence Crawford and thinking you can get the money and promising the Manny Pacquiao fight. Manny Pacquiao's not fighting. I don't care how we're going to start negotiations. Manny Pacquiao's not going to fight Terence Crawford, man. He's just dangling him along. And then even if he's going to fight him, why has Bud got to go all the way into Macau or somewhere no one's ever been before in Asia? That's a lie. I think that's a lie. I think he's just dangling that in his face. Bud just said he wants to fight Sean Porter or Errol Spence. That's who he wants to fight. Bob knows he can't make that happen because the relationship with Al Heyman. He doesn't. Al Heyman would not do business with him. Period. Don't talk to him. Don't answer his calls. Nothing. Don't have nothing to say to him. You know what I mean? Let's listen to more of Mayweather because, I tell you, this Bob Arum, there's not much evidence on him about how he feels about certain fighters and doesn't want to put them over. That's the word, put them over. He believes that his Hispanic fan base is the fan base of everything, but it's not. Like, there's different fan bases. As you can see with Marcus Madonna, the Argentinians came out. As you can see with the UK fans come out. Whoever it is, like, As long as they think their fight is gonna be a winner. Everyone loves a winner, baby. They're coming out. Nebraska, people all over the world like Terence Crawford. Now they say that he's not good at interviews because some people say things he doesn't like and he doesn't want to interview them. I respect that. You know, end day he does it in the ring. That's what old timers want to see. He goes in and knocks guys out, and that's not good enough. I don't know. So what does the man need to do, man? I mean, in fact, he don't need to do anything. I think he needs to change the whole setup. Let's play here what Mayweather has to say.
The signs are Floyd Jr. is now moving in the right direction, with family responsibilities helping the...
Actually, you know what? That Bob Arum, I can't believe he said that. You know what I mean? He said that thing. What he said, crazy.
You don't
About 12.
that as being young.
Listen to what Arum says. Listen.
I don't want to say that's late.
He looks at an Oscar who may make as much as $20 million for a fight and says, why am I only making $3 million? Floyd has to realize that if he does the right things, his time will come.
So what was he gonna? What right things was he had to do at that point? Because you weren't doing it. Obviously, he did the right things by leaving you. That's what it was, mate. And challenging the best. That's what it was, man. Leaving your ass was the right thing to do, bro. What right things could he say? Or looks at Oscar. You were pushing Oscar, and you wasn't pushing him. And now it turns out that Mayweather more translated better than Oscar. Because the thing is, yeah, let's talk about it. In America, you're selling it to the American fans, but if you're selling it to the world fans, that's what Mayweather did, fighting the best around the world. And it Mayweather got winning Ricky Hatton. He's got the UK fan base, so everyone in England knows who he is. He beats Manny Pacquiao. He's got Filipino. He beats Marcos Madonna. He's from Argentina. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. So when you beat these guys with this huge fan base, everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows who he is now. And now I'm telling you, there's a whole generation who probably doesn't even know Oscar De La Hoya's resume, man. I know he's a Hall of Fame and all that, but people are not looking at Oscar like that, man. I think Oscar's fan base was majority women anyway. You know what I mean? The women used to come out for Oscar. But for people coming out, and even though Oscar used to knock guys out, he get a couple of decisions that people didn't like because he was favored, man. Look at Terence Crawford's face, man. Look at that face right there. That guy, he ain't a happy bunny at all, man. Happy bunny at all. And this guy next to you he's killing you, man. And I talked about this the other day, actually. I talked about that boxers, have people next to them and they're just killing them. Like, your job as a promoter, your job as a commentator when the boxer's fighting is to sell the fighter to the fans. If the fighter is doing bad or anything, like you do make it look good. You don't sit there and talk negative. And what Americans have been doing, they've been killing the sport with the commentary on HBO for years. And Bob Arum killing the talent. Like you're killing, Dana killing the talent, bro. Like, how can you, if Terence Crawford was in UFC, you think Dana would say them things? Because, it was a tremendous performance. He knocked out one of the top welterweights in the country, and we look forward to try and make bigger fights. That's what Dana White would have said, right? Bob Arum, I didn't make no money from him. Yeah, I didn't make money. You know what I mean? He's like, bro, it's just like, I lost more money with this guy than anything. I mean, come on, man. Come on. I saw him in the post press conference, like, with Bud, and it was like, he was standing next to Bud. Bud was saying he wanted to fight, and he was saying something else. Are we trying to make the Manny Pacquiao fight somewhere? We have to enter negotiations. Bud is saying, I want to fight Sean Porter. I want to fight Errol Spence. And Bob can't do that. So the only way this can happen is two things. They're gonna have to separate. Straight through the middle. They're gonna have to part for that to happen. The Manny Pacquiao fight that you want, it's a fight that, boy, you're gonna have to jump through hoops, man. You're gonna have to jump through hoops. And even, listen, let me tell you something, Bud, even if you go over the other side, there's no guarantee that Spence and them guys are gonna fight you either. So you're in a situation where who wants you club, you know what I mean? It's just one of them ones there. I mean, you can go with Al Heyman and he can advise you, and you can fight on the PVC, Showtime. I think Showtime would be good for you. ESPN, and maybe, and your thing is, maybe they value you better because you can just do your thing, earn your money. You don't have to do multiple interviews and do what you need to do, because some of them guys over there don't do that anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, but at this point, he's got the right team around him, right? Business investors. And see Terence Crawford, what Miami made, He likes to fish. Anyone who does fishing, they're patient people. People do fishing because I've done it myself. You have to be very patient because you put the bait into the water. So you put the obviously the string into the water with the bait, and you sit there and like you obviously have to put the right bait now. And the fish underneath in the water, they have to gobble it up, man. You know what I mean? I used to do that all the time and sit there with the fish, and it's very patient. You obviously then you have to wheel out the fish because the fish doesn't want to go because the fish is pulling onto the bait, and you have to wheel it out. And then you know what I'm saying, you got your bait. You know what I mean? You could do what you want. You can cook it, whatever, or you just throw this fish back into the water. Like, I used to do that. It was just a thrill just to catch them. And Bud is just a very patient guy. But boy, his patience is about to run out, and Bob Arum is sticking the needle in him. This guy is killing him. Lomachenko, how you gonna say Lomachenko? Lomachenko is a better. Lomachenko never used to talk. You know what I mean? You weren't riding him, but see, Lomachenko, another one, didn't make no money for you as well. See, this is what it comes down to. Bob Arum and Frank Warren. Yes, Frank Warren in the UK. The problem they have is, even though they're rich, yeah, their throw in life is just to feel, when they look in the bank account, they like to see extra food, extra money, more money. The more money they can ever have in their life, even to spend. But that's what their thrill is. They don't really care about the athletes. They don't care about that. And he didn't lose no money, right? He didn't lose no money. He's rich. So he didn't lose no money at all, in my opinion. It's just that he didn't make as much money as he wanted to. That's the problem. He didn't make much money as he could have. You know what I mean? The way he's talking, you'd think he would be poor. He didn't make as much money as he could have from the fight. But at the end of the day, if you're not out there promoting the fight, then what you expect? This guy, pound for pound, is the best in boxing. You ain't never said that out your lips. He knocks everyone out who's in front of him. Get him, he's stylish, everything. You know what I mean? You're not promoting. You want the athlete to do all the work, and you sit there and getting the money, man. That ain't happening no more, man. Slavery's over, and the slave wage is in Mayweather. Exactly happened with Mayweather. Let me go back to the Mayweather thing. Look at this. Listen to this. I'll play this exactly from the start, so you get his idea of what Mayweather was going through. Right? It's on my other channel, Pretty Boy Floyd. Into Pretty Floyd into Money Mayweather. So it's a transformation of how we transform, how we change. Yeah, let's see. Here we go. Look, you're gonna see here the change. Here the change of the guy, how he changed up, boy. I'll tell you what, man.
Reputation, but Floyd Mayweather says all publicity is good.
Listen to this.
Floyd Mayweather says all publicity is
Ego back under control.
He's the pretty boy with the ugly reputation.
Imagine that. See, where these ugly reputation come from? What? See, this is the stuff that was been put out. They were saying these things about Floyd, the pretty guy with the ugly reputation, because he criticized the contract. Right? Everything from all because he criticized the contract. Now he's got ugly reputation. He needs to get his ego in check and all that rubbish.
But Floyd Mayweather says all publicity is good publicity.
Good press or bad press, just right about me.
Well, he's got that right. Floyd's got that right. Yo, keep talking my name, whether you're talking good or bad, and just keep my name rolling. But negativity is not good for you, but it's not a good. But it does. Hey, listen, it makes people come to watch you, Floyd. 100%.
I haven't done them wrong. He's young and he's brash, and he's probably his own worst enemy.
You hear what this guy said? You hear what this guy said? He's young and he's brash. This is Bob Arum, right? By the way, he's young and he's brash, and he's probably his worst enemy. You understand what this man said there? How can you be young and brash and probably his worst enemy? Like what? Does that even make sense? Like, does that even make sense to anyone? The man believes he's worth more than what you're giving him, and he's obviously doing everything he does, beating everyone in front of him. The same thing as Terence Crawford, knocking guys out. He's even talking. And now he's young and he's brash and he talks too much because he didn't want to take your slave wage contract, which wasn't worth anything. Okay, then. All right, let's keep it going.
Gone is the clean-cut Olympian who charmed.
When did the clean-cut Olympian go away? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He had enough, man. You know what I mean? Are you going smiling and everyone else is rich? He looks at Oscar De La Hoya. I'm better than him. I deserve more than him. And which end of the day he went out and proved. Let's go. Keep going. Let's keep it going.
Pretty boy Floyd is real good looking.
And harmed in equal measure.
Floyd has a beautiful smile and he's a handsome kid, but he gets off on a tangent sometime.
And because of
see this guy, he's a good-looking guy, but he gets off on a tangent. Yeah, because you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. these problems, yeah, of this, you listening to this, yeah. I hope you guys listening to his stuff. His stuff, he was getting them problems back then. Floyd was getting their problems then. Bud, to be fair, is not even reacting how Floyd reacting. You know what I'm saying? Not even reacting in that way. Wow. I mean, it's just, Bob, he obviously you're the problem out here. Obviously, it seems like you're the problem, not the fighters. Let's keep this moving. Let's keep this moving.
To a certain lifestyle. I mean, you name it, I got it. You know, I got top of the line jewelry, got top of the line cars. That's how it is when you're at the top.
No Toronto.
They're talking about it. Then they started comparing Floyd to Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? And then Floyd said, I ain't been locked up at that point. Then they talk about him and his dad are not getting on. So they're trying to say they start rubbishing Floyd, man. Let me see this good. This is the last bit anyway.
That's being young. That's 21 years old. I don't want to say that's slavery.
He looks at an Oscar who may make as much as $20 million for a fight and says, why am I only making $3 million? Floyd has to realize that if he does the right things, his time will come.
Well, his time came, Bob Arum, when he left you. And this is the thing to Terence Bud Crawford. At this point, at your age, let's see how old Bud Crawford is. Let's see how old his age is. At this age, you have to make, and this is what Tim Bradley had to do, have to make a decision to either stay with this guy and be just a guy who fight for him, or he's 33 years of age, right? So, you want to pursue legacy and cement your legacy for your family and yourself and make a crossroads. You know what I mean? Everyone thinks the PVC is going to be better for him. I don't guarantee that the Errol Spence fight is going to happen. But financially, I think he might probably be better because he can get a fight with Sean Porter will have no problem fighting him. Who else would fight with him? Let me see who else is there on the PVC. There's quite a lot of fights. If he wants to move up to 154, you got the Charlo brothers. They're there as well. So you have a lineage of people that you could fight, and you can make some great fights over there. And win or lose, it doesn't matter. Win or lose, you can fight them. So, Bud, it's all up to you, Bud. If you want to stay there, which most people do, I'm not going to be surprised if he stays there. Like most people think he's going to leave after Bob Arum. I'm not so sensitive about what Bob Arum said. More to do with, what's going to be next for him. And I think Bud, wherever he makes decisions, he's like I said, he's a patient guy. He sits there, listens to the people around him, and makes the decisions from that point onwards. You know what I mean? They make the decisions, and they're making great decisions thus far. Everything in front of him, he's knocking out. Every front of him, he wins. He gets another $1 million payday. He keeps it going. Bob has to decide. If he's gonna go with Terence Crawford, he needs to be all in. That's the problem right now, right? That's what we want to hear. Bob, if you're all in with Bud Crawford, let's roll. Like you was all in with Manny Pacquiao. You was all in with Oscar De La Hoya. So why you ain't all in with Terence Bud Crawford? You didn't want to be all in with Mayweather. You had him there, but you just thought, you know what I mean? He outgrew you. So Bud has to make a decision. If you stay there, Bud, then Bob needs to be all in with you and promote you to the highest, just push you as the biggest thing in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Or you just go across the water and see what other people are saying. So you make a decision, but the history has already been written. The way Mayweather got treated, the way he thought he should be treated. No, the thing is, the difference I have to say, Bud's content with Bob. He has no problem with Bob Arum. He's not complaining. I don't think these comments are gonna rattle him any so much though. I don't think so. I think other people think that, because if that was me, I'd leave him. That's like, it's just stuff to ponder on. You know what I mean? My man's going to go fishing, think about this, and come back with a great decision for his team. So anyway, I'm EJ Boxing Live. I hope you like this. I'll probably post this on my other channel later on today. But it's just a little, so I say, recap of Bob's history and the way he is. And he... And I think they're in trouble with the Tyson Fury thing. What the stuff they said, Al Heyman's intervened that, and they're not fighting. What's up, Fight Doctor? Fight Doctor in the house, Hey, Fight Doctor, you want to jump in? Let me give you a link, Fight Doctor. Let me give you a link. If you want to jump in, I was about to close down actually. See, my man Fight Doctor wants to jump in. Oh, my man Coco Don wants to jump in. You could jump in as well, Coco Don. There you go. So I'll give you 5 minutes jumping. Yeah. Bob Aaron's got a history of doing this. Yeah, you said he cancel. Yeah, you said he cancel. You be saying that still. You say he's cancel. Bro, see the thing is, yeah, Bob Arum is what he is. I don't think he believes in. I don't think he believes in. I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't understand why he don't believe in African American. When you clearly see Ali, you know what I'm saying? Ali was that guy. Ali was the one who actually brought him in. I think he was one of the lawyers working on Ali's case to get it overturned when the army was on. He was one of the lawyers to help overturn the case, and because of that, Ali brought him into the boxing. You know what I'm saying? But he's obviously got to put a warped mindset of how he perceives certain fighters. He doesn't want certain African fighters have been selling massive fights and doing well in boxing for years, from Joe Louis, from Jack Johnson, for years, all of them. There's the fight doctor in the house. What's up, fight doctor?
Fight doctor's in the house on Rick James status as always.
Yeah. Your headset again, fight doctor.
All right, hold on. Let me fix.
All right, cool. You know, I already know fight doctor. You just sometimes forget them sort of things, but he'll be back in a sec. But yeah, the history's already written about African American fighters. He had Marvin Hagler as well, actually. And Marvin Hagler, Marvin Hagler never got his respect because he was with Bob Arum for the majority of his career. Fighting here, he wasn't earning much money. You know what I mean? He wasn't earning much money when he was on Bob Arum at all. But then he started to, later in his career, he started opening up a bit more money and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But, all right, go ahead, Factor. You back?
Yesterday I was lying. Today I'm telling the truth. Yeah. That is a quote. That is a quote from Mr. Bob Arum himself.
Yeah. So listen, have you heard what he said about? You heard what he said about Terence Crawford, right?
I heard he was talking about a bunch of nonsense about Terence Crawford. Something about him not wanting to go bankrupt, promoting Terence Crawford.
I'll read it out. He said, about Terence Crawford, he's got to promote like unified lightweight champion Teofimo Lopez does. Yeah, he's got to promote like former featherweight champion Shakur Stevenson, former featherweight champion Shakur Stevenson. I didn't know he was former. He must have vacated his belt. Yeah, like Floyd Mayweather did. Yeah, Manny Pacquiao did. If he doesn't, then who the F, swear word needs him? Yeah, he may be the greatest fighter in the world, but hey, I ain't going bankrupt promoting him. What do you have to say?
Well, what I have to say is this. Last I checked, Terence Bud Crawford was a fighter, and it's his job to fight. Bob Arum, the head of Top Stink, is supposed to be the promoter. His job is to promote. So it seems to me that if there is an issue, or there's a problem, or if there's a failure in promoting Bud Crawford's career, the failure is with his promoter, not with the fighter. I mean, last I checked, Bud Crawford is number 1 and number 2 on most everybody's pound for pound list who knows anything about boxing. So if Bud Crawford, if his primary function is to fight, well, then I think he's doing a damn good job, saying he's the best fighter, arguably the best fighter in the world. So that leaves the question, Mr. Arum, yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth. What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Because you are the promoter. So if the man is not being promoted properly, I think that reflects more so negatively on Top Stank than it does the number 1 and number 2 pound for pound fighter in the world. Those are my thoughts.
Okay, I'm gonna play something to you. I want you to comment on this. This is Bob Arum on Floyd Mayweather. 12. No, what he has to say about Oscar compared to Floyd. So I want to hear what you have to say about this.
20 years old. I don't want to say that's late.
He looks at an Oscar who may make as much as $20 million for a fight and says, why am I only making $3 million? Floyd has to realize that if he does the right things, his time will come.
What do you have to say about that? Fight doctor?
I would agree. I would agree with what Arum just said there. And I think that Floyd did the right thing by buying his way out of the Top Stank slave contract. And I think if Terence Crawford wants to see the big paydays and make the big fights, Terence Crawford has all the talent in the world, and he has all the potential in the world. The one thing that's weighing him down, the albatross is hung around his neck, is Bob Arum. Cut the dead weight.
But you listen to this, right? You see what he said about it. You see what he said? He goes, he has to do the right thing. What he was saying, what I got out of that is that Floyd, he needs to stay with him and be patient. That's what I got out of that. Now, obviously, we know what happened, but I'm talking about this is in the moment. The man's saying that if he needs to be patient and do the right things, his time will come. But what he was trying to say with him, he wasn't trying to say he should leave him. You understand what I'm saying? So that in that context, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I mean, I don't know that that's the best deal for Bud Crawford. I don't think that's the best course of action. Listen, Bob Arum, your promoter, is publicly shaming you. Your promoter, the guy who's supposed to be building you up, the guy who's supposed to be pumping you up, making you into a household name, he's publicly shaming you. So I just don't see how going forward, if Terence Crawford really wants to make a mark, and more importantly, make some money, the big money, over the remainder of his career, how do you do that with a guy who has failed at that, getting you the big fights, has failed at getting you the big paydays, and is publicly shaming you, the guy who's supposed to be promoting you? I mean, how do you do that with Bob Arum if you're Terence Crawford? How does that work? Okay.
But listen to this, right? So Floyd's with Bob Arum, and he done that. So all the negativity, let's get it right. All the negativity that Floyd got, it all came from Bob Arum. Now, listen to this. It's because they don't do what he wants them to do. If they don't sign his contract, then he publicly puts them under the thing. Now, Terence Crawford has already said he's not looking to sign if you don't get him the fight. So now all of a sudden this negativity is coming out. And then what I'm trying to show you is there's a pattern here. That when you don't do what he wants, the negativity starts coming out. Now I'm playing something else for you, right? What he said about Floyd, right?
Floyd has a beautiful smile, and he's a handsome kid, but he gets off on a tangent sometimes. And because it's
he has a beautiful smile, he's a beautiful kid, but he gets off in tangents, yeah? So he's trying to make them seem like Floyd's crazy. You know what I'm trying to say to you? Now, it's the same thing with Terence Crawford, trying to make it he doesn't sell, but everyone saw he sold that in Nebraska. Like, are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've seen the pattern of he's using his influence, yeah, to demean the fighters. That's what it is. If they don't do what he wants. Now, going forward, yeah, I think, Terence, there's two things Terence Crawford, he's not like Floyd. He's not, and this is why I got this picture out here where he's deciding what he needs to do. He's not like Floyd, right? He does fishing. He likes to think about things. He's got the right team around him in terms of making securities. He doesn't like to do waves. He does things the old school ways. He fights. He kicks ass. He don't need to talk. He's a quiet spoken guy. Now, that kind of guy, yeah, likes the stability. That's why he stays with Bob Arum. The same with Tim Bradley, likes stability. So most likely, even after these comments, he's not like us. Me and you, obviously, we react to these things. He's probably at this point thinking, well, if you don't give me the big fight, then I'm going to have to go elsewhere. And now, if you go elsewhere, I'm not saying he's going to be looked after, but my whole thing is, I was trying to get the point is that when you don't do what he wants or anything like that, he puts it on you to try and use the media to put a bad light on you, that when you leave him, that the media still condemns you. And this is what was happening to Floyd the majority of his career. The way Bob Arum was talking to him, the moment that happened, he didn't do what he wanted. He was a great Olympian and everything. Where did that change? Where did he go wrong? Floyd go wrong when he was just doing what he did. All the negativity came from Bob Arum. But go ahead, Spike Doctor.
Well, listen, this just underscores the failure that is Top Stank Promotions. I mean, think about it, right? Top Stank, the best. Two of the best fighters, okay? Two of the very best fighters who has fought over the last 20, 30 years have come through Top Stank, okay? And Top Stank failed to make them a household name, right? You have Floyd Mayweather, who blew up like a nuclear bomb after he left Top Stank. And you have Terence Crawford, Okay, two guys who are at the absolute top of the pound for pound list, and you have. So what's the common denominator, right? What's the common denominator? In both instances, it's top stank and their failure to promote talent. And that's just all there is to it. I mean, I don't understand what the problem is, but how is it that you get the best at something and you fail to promote it properly? I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, how does that even work?
I don't understand. Even if he was in England, he'd be one of the greatest fighters ever. Pound for pound, number one, not beat everyone in front of him in spectacular fashion. He is truly what most guys want to be. And then the fact that he sells out because you've done it in Nebraska, 100% in Nebraska. Obviously, we're going for this covert time, and obviously you're losing money. But the thing is, Bob Arum, you're rich. He's greedy. Like when you talk top rank, I'll just be more specific. He's top rank. He's making a decision. I don't hear no one else. I don't even know no one else in the matchmakers. He's the one saying these things out here. And what he's doing is shaming and trying to put down him. He did the same thing Tim Bradley when Manny Pacquiao lost to Tim Bradley. Same thing. I didn't think and he didn't shield Tim Bradley from all that criticism. And what he's doing is causing a wedge and is letting the door open for a lot of negativity coming forward now. And you can't help but bring the parallels in about what happened with Floyd and now what's happening with Terence Crawford, who basically to me comes across as a very sensitive, educated man, and he's family man. He ain't out doing nothing. He likes fishing, does nothing wrong with him, like a clean cut guy. But yet you're trying to demean him and saying he doesn't sell. I mean, that is the most disrespectful thing I ever heard in my life, bro. It's disrespect. The disrespect, is because you're old. You shouldn't have a right to say them sort of things. Them, you know what I mean? I mean, that's dark. That's dark. But the thing is, I don't see him. I think he'll stay with him. What do you think? Do you think he'll stay? I think Bud stays with him though. Still, what do you think?
Well, I mean, so at the end of the day, boxing is a business, and I hope that Terence Crawford could, for a minute, just step out of his role as a fighter and assume the role of a businessman and understand that your shelf life, look, you have a short shelf life, all right? The man is already 33 years old. Yeah. 33. So you're on the downside. You're on the back end. So at this point, you need to be looking at making the most money that you can make for the next 3-4 years. Because let's face it, right? Look, right now he's arguably the best fighter in the world, but that's only going to be for the next 3 or 4 years. After that, it's over. It's done. And right now you are at the pinnacle of your earning potential right now. So, right. And the question is, can you maximize your earnings under somebody who is publicly shaming you? Publicly shaming you. So if he's smart, and I like to think he is, he'll give Lonesome Bob the finger and go to the highest bidder.
I don't think it's easy. I think it's more to do with security, man. He knows that Bob realized now. It's the first time I've actually seen him and Bob in the interview. And I remember I used to see De La Hoya, right? Every time De La Hoya used to fight, Bob Arum was always in the camera, always. He never used to say that much, but he was always in the background grinning because he knew the money was coming. When it was Manny Pacquiao pay-per-view, he used to always be. You never then any comment Manny didn't say, he goes, yeah. Because Bob told him, look, Manny, anything they ask you don't want to ask, just send them to me, I'll deal with it. So Manny, what do you think about this fight? Well, ask my promoter, Bob Arum. Ask my promoter, Bob Arum. And it's like, and Bubba said, well, Manny is there. And that used to go on all the time. Now with Bud, this is the first time they came in the camera and they're already at odds already. Terence Crawford said he wants to fight Sean Porter and he wants to fight Errol Spence. That's what he said he wanted. But Byron said, we're going to enter negotiations. We're going to go back on the negotiations, with Manny Pacquiao. That's not solid. I mean, that's not solid. I mean, what's that? That's already a discord. They've already they don't see eye to eye already. Yeah, what do you think, Fight Doctor?
Well, so here's the deal. See, Arum, he doesn't want to make the Pacquiao fight. He doesn't want to make the Spence fight. He doesn't want to make the fight with anyone who isn't signed to Top Stank. Period, point blank, end of story. Okay, and that's the reason why you haven't seen Bud Crawford fight a non-top stank fighter, because Arum, Lonesome Bob, Mister. Yesterday I was lying. Today I'm telling the truth. He doesn't want to work with anyone else. He wants to hold all the cards. He wants to be in control. He wants to be the arbiter, the final arbiter of whoever's going to win the fight. So Arum doesn't want to co-promote. He doesn't want to do any of that. He wants to be in 100% control. And if you can't do that, then well, you just can't fight XYZ fighter. So listen, Arum has a long history of denying the boxing community, the boxing fans, the fights that matter. You need to look no further than Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, 2009, 2010, when you had what happens once in a lifetime, okay? Once in a lifetime, which is you have the absolute two best fighters in the sport at or around the same weight class, and you couldn't make the fight.
Yeah,
Bob Arum.
Yeah, he didn't want to say we're not doing what Floyd wants. It was more to do with him than Manny. I think Manny would have fight. So we're not doing the drug testing. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. Well, when they got rid of when they had to concede because they were getting knocked out and it was the biggest payday. Bob had to concede. What about we said we're gonna build an arena? Another fight he's trying to get the Inouye versus the John Mio Casemiro fight. He doesn't want to do that fight until there's a crowd. I mean, everything about Bob Arum is motivated about money. And when it comes to Terence Crawford, yeah, you maybe say you're not making much money, you're still rich, you're not making as money as you'd like to, but end of the day, yeah, that's nothing to do with you more than do with the fight fans and putting that information out there. You know what you're doing when you're putting that information out there. You're actually, you're basically betraying your fighter. And this is what I was talking about before when HBO and these commentators, when you're watching HBO and they're constantly down in the fight. That's why a lot of the times when I watch fighters recently, I turn the volume off. I'd rather talk to you, Fight Doctor, or someone else, because our commentary is not centered on disrespecting the fighters rather than concentrating on what we came to see was the fight and to see someone be glorious and see, hope we had a good experience, which I think sometimes the commentators and the promoters have gone away from that. All they see is the bucks at the end of the day. They, Bob Arum and Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley, all they see is how much did it make, how much pay-per-views buys did it make. That was always going out there all the time. But Jim Lampley, all he cared about was the stats, how many punches would land, rather than power punches and stats. He didn't really tell the tale of the fight, really, because someone landed this amount of numbers, yeah. So it was how much damage did they cause in these punches, you know what I'm saying? So these guys, yeah, listen. Everything goes in circles. Bob Arum, it looks like to me, if Terence Bud Crawford leaves him, bro, I don't know where he goes. I don't know who you think is going to be next, because I don't think Teofimo Lopez, he's not very good defensive fighter. He's a good fighter. I don't know how long he's going to stay undefeated for. Or maybe Bob Arum doesn't care. All he know he can make money on because he can talk and he's got Latino. Keep talking that Latino fan base, bro. And then people these days are not so racial segregated. There's black people who support Latinos, support other fighters. There's other colors who support other fighters. If he didn't have that segregated mindset, then maybe he'd understand that a lot of these fighters, yeah, they could be worldwide stars rather than just domestic stars in America. Fight Doctor, your final words.
I would agree, and the HBO. Listen, I do not miss HBO boxing at all, because talk about biased commentary. Mm-hmm. If you look up biased commentary in the dictionary, you have a picture of Jim Lampley and the whole HBO announce crew sitting right there. I mean, their bias was the stuff of legend. Oh my God, they were. I mean, the pro De La Hoya bias and the anti-Mayweather bias was ridiculous, okay, to the nth degree. So, yeah, I'm agreeing with you there. I don't miss the HBO bias. I definitely don't appreciate the bias from some of these other broadcasters. I don't think anybody comes close to how bad HBO was. Maybe ESPN is a close second, or is a second, but the HBO bias was just off the charts.
Well, Andre Ward and Tim Bradley, I think they're fair. And Paulie Malignaggi started to veer off because he started to get into arguments with the fighters, with Deontay Wilder. He didn't like the commentary, and they started to veer off that way. Al Bernstein can be he can be. Because I remember when after Marvin Hagler won his fight against who did he win against Hearns, right? He won it off, and Marvin Hagler said, "Yeah, it was a great fight. Wanted to fight because maybe now I'm the pound for pound best in the world." He goes, "No, you might be the greatest middleweight, but not." I goes, "What the fuck are you talking about? He is." He's the best pound for pound. Hearns was one of the best pound for pound fighters in the generation, and he just beat him. So he should be considered one of the pound for pound fight. And Alan Bernstein wouldn't give him that credit. I remember that like vividly. I was like, why wouldn't you give him his credit? Like, why wouldn't you give the man his credit? See, the thing is, yeah, and I look at it a lot of times, yeah, it's like in America, and Teddy Atlas does this as well. It's like we have to come to them to make them give them credit, and then Teddy's gave me credit, so now we can have a no. We're in a different time. Your words and your power, people don't even know who you are. So people don't know who you are no more. And I don't see people looking and running to go to Larry Merchant to see what he hears every fight, to see what Larry Merchant has to say about the fight. I don't really care what he has to say. You know what I mean? Bob Arum, I don't really care for what he said, but the negativity after the fight is palpable. Remember, Teddy Atlas said after the fight he didn't believe Andre Ward and Terence Crawford were pound for pound. And I remember that. I was like, I remember I was burned. Where you at? So you get what you deserve. Keep talking that negativity and let's see where it goes. We got my man Coach K. He just came in. He just came in. Just introduced to me. Just jumped in and jumped out. Or maybe a comeback. But I was about to shut up the shop anyway. Fight Doctor, man. It's just a time. Like I said to you. So your prediction is what? He stays or he goes?
Well, I can't make a prediction because I really don't. I can't say. But what I can say is this: that if he's smart, he'll leave Bob Arum. I mean, if he wants to maximize his earning, if he wants to fight those career-defining fights, he's not going to be able to do that under Top Stank. He's going to have to go somewhere else. Okay? Listen, you know what fight I would really like to see Terence Crawford take or get? Yeah. I would love to see Terence Crawford fight Canelo Alvarez at 160.
100%. I said that yesterday. I did say that. I said that. I agree. 100%. Yeah. 100%.
But guess what? That fight will never happen as long as he's signed to Top Stank.
No, but it's the thing. If Canelo goes over and he goes over, it's a possibility. And I think all of them will be looking to fight Canelo. And you know what? Because he's left Golden Boy, Canelo's up for it. Canelo's up for the challenge. You know what I mean? And I think these fights could happen if they go over. Hopefully they can happen. But Annie Joshua and Deontay Wilder, they were both at Showtime for years, and no one even thought about making that fight. All right, Coach K, my man, jump in. What do you have to say? How you doing? You all right?
Say again.
How you doing? You all right?
Oh yeah, man. Just chilling, just listening to y'all.
Well, all right, what have you heard so far? And obviously you've heard the controversy or not controversy. Give us your unique perspective of what you've heard so far about the Bud Crawford situation.
I haven't heard anything outside of watching the fight. The last thing I saw was obviously the fight itself. Crawford looked good. And I heard him call out Pacquiao again. I guess they had a fight on the way. So it looked like he finna fight Pacquiao next, according to Bob Arum and Terence Crawford. That's a good fight. I just heard you guys mention him fighting Canelo at 160 because Canelo's a free agent. Canelo got a lot of work out there. I mean, I want to see Canelo against the Charlos. I still want to see him against Andrade before I even start looking at him fighting some of the welterweights right now. So that's what I'm expecting for Canelo. But Crawford looked good. I think he'll get the fight with Pacquiao next, unless he and Earl Spence decide to fight and get it on after the Danny Garcia fight.
Okay, so the title of this video, right? So I'll update you on because Coach is a busy guy, right? The title of this video is Bob Arum said. This is what he actually said. I'm not going bankrupt promoting Terence Crawford, right? So I'll read out the actual full statement of what he said, right? By the way, Terence Crawford has kind of responded, to Bob Arum's quote comments, and I'll read that out after as well. All right, so we'll get to the comment. So Bob Arum said, that Crawford should also start promoting himself. Yeah, he compared him to several fighters. Okay, Tom Brandon. Okay, he's got to promote like unified lightweight champion Teofimo Lopez does. He's got to promote like former featherweight champion Shakur Stevenson does, like Floyd Mayweather did, yeah, like Manny Pacquiao did. If he doesn't do that, then who the F needs him? Yeah, he may be the greatest fighter in the world, but hey, I ain't going bankrupt promoting him, right? Then Terence Crawford on his Instagram, he said, I appreciate all the love, support from each and every one of you out there screaming team Crawford and still, right? So I think that probably was just after the fight. So that's the update. Basically, Bob Arum is basically he's saying he's not making no money from Terence Bud Crawford. What's your comments on that?
Okay, so let's go with what he said if we believe it to be true. Because I know the issue be usually people be like, I don't believe what he's saying, but I'm gonna believe him about his own business. Yeah, I don't see a problem with what he's saying. I mean, why? I mean, of course you wouldn't go bankrupt trying to promote one fighter. Now, I don't know how much money Terence Crawford is actually bringing in and what they consider money and what they consider not good money. Because Terence Crawford could be bringing in $100 million, but he might be spending $150 million on him. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I had to look at the numbers, or Bob Arum had to give us some numbers, which he probably won't. So it seems to me, though, it should be straight, because if Terence Crawford like it, then I love it. I mean, he's there for a reason. When he decides to move on, like Floyd Mayweather and De La Hoya and others who's moved on from Bob Arum, we'll see after that and what he has to say. But Terence Crawford is still there, so I ain't having no issues. So I have no problem with Bob Arum said.
You think he's okay? You already highlighted it. So I think how this network thing, he gets they give him a network, right? They give him not letting him a network. They give him a contract of he gets a contract from the network ESPN, right, for a certain amount of time. Like Eddie Hearn did, a 5-year contract, right? So in the 5-year contract, let's say in the 5-year contract, he got given 50 mil, right? 50 mil contract, right? 5-year 50 mil contract. Now, if he exceeds each fight on the contract, then obviously he goes over that, then he can keep the extra money. But he has to produce a certain amount of units each fight. Now, obviously the COVID's happened, yeah, and he's not making what he's trying to say. Maybe viewership and numbers coming back, it's not that good. He didn't. For me personally, where he lost a lot of money is when he had Lomachenko, because I know it for a fact, because Eddie Hearn said it. On that pay-per-view he had with Luke Campbell, they didn't make no money. The two of them didn't make no money. He ain't making that much money. And the reason why the Fury fight is going back on, because and nothing we can talk about that, is remember Fury said he was going to fight someone else. That ain't happening. Bob Arum, they've obviously got started talks again, because Bob Arum and Frank, when they know, they have to make that fight, because that fight is a huge money fight and he can get some money. And remember, again, he has a certain amount of money he has to get for ESPN, and also Frank Warren has to get, for the viewership to get paid back for the contract they have. Otherwise, they're liable. This is how it works, right? So when he say he's losing money, it's not just Terence Crawford, it's Lomachenko as well. But he should have done all right with Teofimo. He's happy with Teofimo Lopez because the money he had and talk. But he's trying to say another thing as well. He's trying to say that Terence Bud Crawford needs to talk more. He's do more promoting. Now, the question is, what we're saying, coach, is that shouldn't that be Bob Arum's job to do more promoting and do more? What do you think about that?
Man, not really. Not in this era. We already know how this era is. If people can get on here and on social media and Facebook and promote themselves, and they do absolutely nothing, and they can get famous and 14 million views and 12 million views and deals because they're generating interest. If you're a professional athlete and you have a skill set, something that people actually want to watch, like Terence Crawford is a great fighter to watch. We know that as boxing fans. But outside of boxing, which has become a niche sport, these guys got to do more than doing what they're doing. Muhammad Ali and Roy Jones did that, brought that into boxing. Mike Tyson done that himself too. So it ain't like it's just all on the promoter. The promoter going to get you about 50% of what you could generate. The other 50% is going to be up to you. What Bob Arum gonna do? How Bob Arum gonna sell you on something? He's not even the dude. Barely can move. Like anything he say ain't. It's not gonna match. So what Crawford needs to do is get a spokesman that can appeal to the masses, that can articulate his words and what he's feeling, and put it in some type of social media package. Because Crawford don't talk. I say this. He's like a Kawhi Leonard. If you want to comparison, he's like Kawhi Leonard in basketball. So Kawhi Leonard, though, he has a team around him because basketball is so popular. He has a team around him that knows how to get him out there, even though he's quiet. And they just call him, hey, he's the Terminator. You know, he's the Claw. They go with the mystique angle. So Crawford needs something. I mean, I don't. But it is both of their jobs to do it. I don't think it's totally on Bob Arum, to be honest with you.
You know the funny thing about when I think about Bob Arum, and I think about, and I kind of equate with wrestling, Vince McMahon. I look at these things, right? These guys are promoters, right? Now they have these guys, they have their film footage, they own their film footage. But one thing none of these promoters ever done is put merchandise. Remember back in the days we have to have the fight night games, right? They haven't done none of that, right? The promoter could easily say sort of contract where these guys have the ESPN fight game. All of these fighters license all of these fighters on the game. Then you can do action figures. Terence Bud actually, you don't think these will sell? This is how we make the money. If you really want to make money, it's all about merchandise, man. They don't do that. Like merchandise sells off the racks, man. More kids would buy the merchandise. They don't even know who the fighter is. I'll tell you how it is, right? I had it was called Knockout Kings back in 2001, right? And half the guys on the game, I didn't know who they were until later on, obviously on Sky, they show some of these fighters. But I used to play the game. I didn't know who these guys were. And the merchandise, you can have them in toy stores. You can have them selling, like, give example, Canelo Alvarez. He sells Corona Extra. He does all that. He's a marketing dream. You know who sorts that out? Oscar De La Hoya. That's why he's so big in Mexico, because Oscar De La Hoya actually promotes. He actually does the promote. And Floyd Mayweather, if you're with Floyd Mayweather, people this way remember you make money with Floyd Mayweather because he actually promotes. He actually goes out there. And I was at the press conference when Tank was there. Tank can only say 2 words, but Floyd took over and lit the press conference up, caused little contracts with the guy who was fighting, controversies with the guy who was fighting. So he actually does promoting because they have energy. You're right, Coach K. He hasn't got the energy, but I don't think some of these promoters understand is that there's more money to be made in merchandise and other things, and also it will give the fighters something later on in their life, that they have something that even they give them percentage. If you're selling toys and you're putting them in cartoons and video games, right? The fighter, you should give the fighter a little percentage of that. So even after his career's over, that he still gets residual money coming into the account. That's never happened in boxing, and that to me. That's like a miss. I mean, it's incumbent on the fighter to do that. They always have Mike Tyson's punch out, this, that, the other. So they let the fighter, but it's never like a kind of a blank canvas and that. And I think this is where some of the promoters are missing the ball. Where with American football and all them things, that the football's on everything. You know what I mean? The NFL they promote, man. The NFL, NBA, they promote. They do a good job of promoting their athletes. Now, maybe basketball's not as big as his country it was before, but when Michael Jordan was popping, bruh, it was over. So, I mean, he ain't doing a good job is what I'm trying to say. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, if you think he ain't doing a good job, then he ain't doing a good job. But Terence Crawford still, I haven't heard Terence Crawford say anything bad yet. That's the problem.
100%. And I agree with you. I think he's going to stay as well. All right, let's move on quickly. This Tyson Fury situation. He ain't fighting. You know what I mean? Now, people were saying now, and I want Fight Doctor to go first, right? He ain't fighting. They said they were going to fight this guy and that guy. They ain't fighting. Apparently, Al Heyman stepped in and Shelley Finkel stepped in. They finally stepped in and they put the kibosh on this, and they're making sure that if they said the contract was over, I don't know what's going on, but whatever's happened is that, Tyson Fury ain't doing ish until they tell him to do. Fight Doctor, what do you have to say about that?
Well, apparently this whole notion of the contract having expired is a bit premature, because if the contract between Wilder and Fury had expired, then it seems to me that Fury will be free to go fight who he wants to fight. And seeing that the December 5th fight isn't happening, then apparently the contract hasn't expired. So we'll see what happens. But I fully expect that. Their next fight will be against each other. Unless maybe there's some type of contract renegotiation or some step aside money paid or something. But if none of that happens, then I expect that the Wilder and Fury will be facing each other next.
Coach K, what's your take?
Man, Wilder has gotten on my nerves, to be honest with you. I'm just waiting for the fight, man. I think he just doing all this kicking and screaming, and they going back and forth because it could be Wilder's last ride. If he gets stopped again, plus all these shenanigans, shaking in the street, just all the stuff he's doing is just. I'm kind of tired of it. I'm just ready for them to get the third fight out the way, and let's see what happens. That's what I'm waiting on.
So let me ask you a question, Coach. I'm actually changing my opinion. I reckon Wilder might win the fight now. What you think?
Okay, if he wins it, okay, that'll put him back in good standing. But I just don't see it with all these excuses being made. I mean, he went from being this serial knockout artist, tough guy, sucking his teeth and giving you these preacher analogies to being this whiny, big, tall, feminine crybaby. I just whatever, man. He's just different. It happens to boxers. They get different. You know what I'm saying? He's up under his girl. That's his choice, and it shows. For me, at least, So I don't think he's gonna beat no Tyson Fury.
Coach, let me ask you a question, man. Are you fed up with the sport? That's like, because I get there. You used to have the energy, man. You used to be on it, but now it's like I don't, whatever. I care. If you had enough of the sport, like, are you losing interest?
No, I ain't losing interest. It's actually interesting. It's just that the difference is that I've watched. Okay, so for people who are just getting into boxing, Wilder and all this stuff that he's talking about is going to be exciting to them. You got to think, man. We've been on here, me, you, Hype Low, your 78, your Bloods, man, the community. We've been on here and we've seen this cycle multiple times. So if I've been on here for 7 years, quite naturally, I would grow to a different understanding that this is what these guys do. They put on shows. We just want to see the fights. That's what we want to see. So I don't have that much energy for the nonsense up until the fight. Like, again, Terence Crawford just had a good fight, right? He just smashed Brooks, knocked him out. Now he's supposed to be fighting Pacquiao. I'm done with Terence Crawford. I'm not going to sit and get all in his business, what Brooke doing next. Only time I'm going to start talking about these guys is when they're booked for a fight. So the next person that's on my mind is the Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia, because those two guys actually have a fight locked in, ready to go. Now, another thing is, if you want to talk about Tank Davis, who just had a good fight, if we want to talk about Teo, who just had a good fight, see, I'm with that. I'm with the guys who are fighting the good fights and talking about that, because we spent a lot of time talking about this with Pacquiao and Mayweather, Keith Thurman and Earl Spence, Carol Brook and Keith Thurman, Mike Donna and this person. We spent a lot of time, so I'm not burnt out on it. It's just that I don't have the energy to talk about guys who don't actually have fights.
Yeah, but that does make sense, because I remember when Tyson Fury was fighting Wilder, and I didn't pay no interest to that promotion, absolutely none. I just wanted to see them in the damn ring, and then I turned the TV on. Absolutely, I 100% agree with you. Had enough of the enough of the bull. I want to hear you talk. I just want to see you in the ring. 100%. I got no time in this sitting there getting my mouth dry, waiting for stuff there. You know what I mean? Fight Doctor, what do you have to say?
Yeah, well, I kind of agree. I feel like we should just talk about the fights that are happening, the fights that we really want to see, instead of, spending so much energy talking about the soap opera and the drama and all the nonsense, which, the boxing is full of nonsense. Always has been, always will be, I suspect. There's always going to be, the Bob Arum situation. And, there's always going to be that type of nonsense, that type of drama going on in boxing. But yeah, I agree. I would rather talk about the fights that we want to see, the fights that are actually happening, as opposed to giving airtime to the drama.
Yeah.
And another thing is,
Go
To
ahead.
add to that is, I'm gonna say this though. It's not that we shouldn't do it. It's just that leave that for the young, hungry people who may just be getting into it, who's supposed to be growing their channels and stuff like that, and doing how we was doing at the beginning. But it just don't make sense to me that us who've been on here for 10 years, 7 years, we would get into debates and arguments about stuff that we've seen before. Until you have a fight, then it's a lot. Like we argued about Keith Thurman versus Earl Spencer. We still have yet to see that fight. So it's
Yeah.
like good to theorize about it, but we've gotten to a point where we don't really have time for that, and we really want our fights, and we kind of deserve our fights. So that's where we at as a community, period. And a lot of people starting to feel that way about boxing because it just takes too long. Like that long wait between Pacquiao and Mayweather, that took a lot of, man, that drained a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Just think about it. That drained a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So now and then we got to think about all the small fights we didn't get. The fights that we could have saw Gamboa and Juan Ma, we never got. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of the Kell Brooks. We didn't get the Kell Brook versus Timothy Bradley or the Kell Brook versus Devin Alexander. It's a lot of fights that we didn't get within that.
Carol Brooker, Amir Khan.
See what I'm saying? We still ain't even got that. See what I'm saying? Andrade and the twins and Canelo Alvarez, or even
Triple
the
G,
twins versus Triple G. So we
Yeah.
can talk about a lot of fights that haven't happened or whatever the case may be. But you know,
until
And
they
see,
sign,
that's what's killing boxing is that a lot of these fights, a lot of like the fights that Coach Cage's name, we should see those fights. There's no reason why we should not have seen a lot of those fights already, but we're not getting them. We're not close to getting them. And this is what is really killing the sport of boxing. The fact that we're not getting the fights that we need to get in order for boxing to really be a viable sport.
well, what I would say, I wouldn't say. I know you used the word killing, but I'll be more specific. I mean, it's taking away the major money and the major spotlight on our sport, when really, you got the fights that most of the majority, or remember the casual fans or most of the fans don't watch. Like, when Mayweather fought Pacquiao, it seemed like the whole world was interested. Like boxing can still do that. When Mike Tyson fought Evander Holyfield, you can do that. Joshua fought Klitschko, it can do that. So in terms of spectacular fights that you could drum up that sort of attention is what he's doing. I don't think boxing can ever be killed. Even killing. I just feel like what they're doing, they're taking away from the sport. And this is what I was talking about, the commentary. When you go out there and you absolutely slate the commentary, like the Manny Pacquiao and Floyd, instead of you going out there and promoting that this is the boxing, see how technical he is. They were doing that with Lomachenko, but when Floyd's doing it, he's running, he ain't doing nothing. This fights are boring. And then when the people decide to do that, they're taking away from the money, you're taking money out of the pockets and making the fans turn away from the sport. When you do that, when they sit there and purposely do that, and Bob Arum, when he's saying these sort of things, they do that. They're taking money out of his pocket. You're making people turn him into a villain. Now people will pay to see you lose, but at the same time, the negativity gets overwhelmed to the point where you drive people away. You drive people's interest out the door. So I understand. Go ahead.
Well, that's what's happening here in the United States. See, like in the UK, boxing, and I can't speak for how popular boxing has been historically or currently in the UK. I suspect that it's as popular today as it's ever been in the UK. However,
it's the best ever. We have a heavyweight champion. We had Lennox Lewis, but most of you people in the UK never regarded him as our champion. This guy was born here, and then you got two of them. You actually have two of them. So you're talking about. I'm gonna put this down for now. I'm gonna say this is the best time ever, period, ever in the UK, ever. Like you're talking about all cross boards. I'm talking from the amateurs all the way into the pros. Eddie Hearn is obviously a young promoter. The money is coming in. It is the best time ever. Even better than the 90s. Go ahead.
But now let's contrast that with boxing in the United States. See, boxing in the United States, decades ago was the number one sport. Okay, a lot of people don't know that, but it's true. boxing was the number one sport. Listen, there used to be fights held in Yankee Stadium. Okay, I mean, I want to say Ray Robinson and Joe Louis both fought in Yankee Stadium. Okay, whereas now every other professional sport, even hockey, is more popular in the United States than boxing.
So what you say? All what's happened is boxing's gone to Europe. That's all that's happened. It's still there. It's just it's transferred around. So you see the stadium fights that you're talking about. We have the stadium fights over here in Wembley Stadium, and there was a Millennium Dome in Wales. So what's happened is that it's moved around. So remember, the sport is a world sport, right? So you're used to having it in America, and what's happened that is moved into into Europe. But in America, if you bring back the great fights, then the people will come back. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's not what's happening. Okay,
no,
yeah. Like here in the United States, at least, the great fights are not happening. Yes. It's just not.
But the thing is, the great single fights can happen if they put together, like you say, Spence. Let's say Spence versus Crawford, right? That's the one. Then you got
the card.
Yeah, exactly. Heath Furman versus blah blah blah. They can happen again, but that's to do with the people who are running boxing coming together. Now the Zone, I don't like them. I thought they made it even more harder for the fights to be made. I'm glad people kind of leaving them or not. I'm glad Canelo left them. Another guy should follow suit. They should go on a more regular channel. I like Showtime. They seem kind of fair. Showtime's cool, or ESPN. I like ESPN, Showtime. The American outlets, and they're outlets where most people can find them and do that, right? Now make the fights now. All they got to do is very simple. They need to make the big fights, and then the big fights, America, all the light will go back to America. Remember, England's only had it for a bit, and it's only because we got the heavyweight champion. But bro, like you, end of the day, you still got the number one selling guy. That's Canelo Alvarez, and he's still the guy who sells enough around. I don't think he sells over here big in the UK, right? But he sells in America. America's a bigger market. America's a bigger market than the UK. It's just what it is. It is. It's bigger market than Europe. Ain't selling nothing, because if Lomachenko was big, how come he ain't selling out there? How come he's in England? How come Lomachenko's in England and America? How come they never promoted him in bloody Lithuania? Because there's no money over there. They don't care about them. But you're trying to tell us that this guy's great, and you're trying to push us down our throat. You know what I mean? Instead of pushing American fighters down their throat. And that's where things have got it backwards, where end of the day, that's what Al Heyman does. He said, nah, De La Hoya pushes the Latino fighters. Al Heyman promotes everyone. If you're good, he promotes them. Bob Arum is trying to I don't know what he's doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, we also lost a couple of our big pay-per-view stars, like in the same kind of wave, because you think about it. Let's say we had Mayweather, we had Pacquiao,
Oscar De La Hoya,
grounded. I'm just saying after Oscar and Roy and that. I'm gonna say the little next group. When you had Pacquiao, Mayweather, that fight itself held boxing in the spotlight because those are two superstars. Then you still had Miguel Cotto. People forget that he did big, huge pay-per-view numbers. Okay, and then Sergio Martinez had the middleweight division very, very exciting. You know what I'm saying? People forget that. Then it
he didn't sell no numbers though, but he was there though.
But it don't middleweight don't really sell like that. Like it ain't like you're gonna have a middleweight champion that's selling big time pay-per-views. Well, those guys are welterweights. Huh?
Well, not in the recent time. No, I agree with you. But there was. But the middleweight used to be the gold. That used to be the gold. That was the place, bro. That was the place where they got that money. If it wasn't heavyweight, the middleweight used to be that place. But not of recent times. You're right. It was welterweights.
I mean, maybe it depends because you really just always have one superstar like Bernard Hopkins didn't sell out pay-per-views. His pay-per-views came huge when he fought the two welterweights, Marvin Hagler, and then he didn't get his big paydays until he fought welterweights.
So let me ask when we talking about big, are we talking about like big? Are we talking about, because the thing is with the pay-per-view, right? I was thinking to myself, do they have to be pay-per-view to make it big, or they can be a regular? Because we just saw a Teofimo Lopez versus Lomachenko. That was a regular TV. We saw it in the UK. You saw it over there in America. Like, does it see what I'm trying to say? Everyone saw it. So pay-per-view is just for the paying public. But
I think pay-per-view is a thing of the past in this era, especially considered Corona. So we seeing a change now with us. Probably 4 years ago, pay-per-view was a thing. It was just the new technology. Hey, versus Sugar Ray Leonard, them, fighting on ABC, NBC, then they said, okay, let's start selling it on pay-per-view. Now we just switching over with the live streams, the streamings, and all that kind of stuff is different. So pay-per-view might not be an option as much because with the streaming service, it may not be. People just not spending money trying to have a high cable bill like that.
Yeah, I know, I agree with you, because that's why I didn't like the Zone, because when the Zone came along, I couldn't stream the fights, and I felt like back in the early 2000s when Felix Trinidad fought Bernard Hopkins. I didn't see that fight until 5 years later. You hear what I'm saying to you? I ain't see that fight until 5 years later when YouTube started to pop off. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt when the Zone came along, because they clogged up the market with the live streaming, which the networks didn't have, because obviously when it's network, anyone can access it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't like them. I don't like the Zone. I don't like these apps, where the fight is on apps, because when you do apps, like obviously we use all these streaming, all these little cheat things. I can stream them and I can see what your guys are seeing. Without them streams, bro, I'm blind. I ain't seeing what you're seeing until maybe it comes on YouTube the next day, and that was horrible. That's why I felt with the Zone. That's why I don't like them. I don't like them at all. You can see what we're saying on Sky Sports. Like when you go, yo, what's happening in the UK, and you can see everything we're seeing, right? But when it comes to the Zone, they blocked us out, man. I was like, oh man. I said, no, this is wrong. So I'm glad they gone under, and I'm glad they ain't got no thing. I'm not happy for this coronavirus, but I don't want them. I don't want that kind of streaming thing with Eddie Hearn. Pushing that guy. I like the networks where we could stream it, we could watch it, and everyone could watch it around the world. You know what I mean? And we could watch it for free. I like that accessibility. You know what I'm saying? That was my problem with really the Zone. But and like we're talking about the sport of if they make the great fights, then people will watch. But listen to this. This is the main thing. If we make the great fights, we need to have the people around there to educate the fight fans who are coming in for the first time to make them stay in the sport. And I don't think sometimes they're not the best guys to do that, to keep people around. It's like they have their own self-interest in to talk crap about the fighters, which I don't know what you think how that's going to help anyone. Like, how is that going to help anyone? Your job is to promote the fighters, put them in a good light. Because I want to watch the UFC. I rarely ever hear any commentator say anything negative about the fighter unless the fighter does anything untoward to another fighter. But rarely, other than that, they don't really disrespect the fighters like that. In fact, they show the fighter the most praise. And I think that's where we need to start going. Another thing as well, people need to get out of this thing of putting the old school down to promote the new school. We had that problem. I'm not going to mention no names. The other day, we was getting into a debate with one of the young guys, and he started saying something about Hagler and Roberto Duran, and we was like, "Whoa," you know what I'm saying?
What could be said about what was the conversation? Like, what's the scenario?
Fighters, you remember?
Yeah, well, the argument was that Bernard Hopkins is a greater middleweight than Marvin Hagler, and that Roberto Duran is overrated. I think that was the other argument.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both compared to who? I don't recall, but this particular person just found it necessary to put down Roberto Duran, and I don't understand why. And he also found it necessary to claim that Bernard Hopkins somehow has a better resume than Marvin Hagler. So it was just ridiculous.
Well, a lot of people like to pick apart Duran for some reason. I noticed that a lot of people not too high on him, but they don't understand what he was doing at lightweight. And I get it. A lot of people who come into boxing who's new, right? New.
Yeah.
The first person they're associated with is Mayweather, right? And Pacquiao. So that means you're familiar with the welterweight division. You don't realize how great lightweight could be, when you have Marquez down there. A lot of people don't even know about Marquez and Pacquiao fighting a lot of fights down there at lightweight. They just know Pacquiao, Mayweather in 147. So a lot of people don't even look at the history. Think about it. They don't know the history of 147, but they're up to date on the new current stuff at 147. They don't know anything about 135, past or present.
100%. But this is what I'm saying. It's funny thing. The reason why I'm trying to say, but you see with the commentary and you got people like Bob Arum, they allow them sort of talks to continue because the way they talk about certain fighters, like now they say Lomachenko is probably better than Pioneer Whitaker. Roy Jones himself was saying he's better than me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, bruh, it's like, yo, Roy, really? You know, when you got people, established people saying these sort of things to the casuals, bruv, like, you know, it's just like, why are you doing this? Why do you need to do this? You know, the thing is, when I came into boxing, when I watched boxing in the 80s, they had Mike Tyson. And the one thing Mike Tyson did, right, it was to revere the old time fighters. Because I like Mike Tyson, I respect, because he respected. Now, listen to this. Because Mike Tyson, and I like Mike Tyson, respected the old timers, I like the old timers. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I'm a fighter and I disrespect the old timers, then I'm a casual at this point. Then I'm gonna start disrespecting the timer, and that's what's happened. You had people like Max Kellogg saying, Chocolito, if he goes up to this weight, he's gonna be better than Alexis Arguello. Like, no, and even Chocolito said, no, I'm not. It doesn't matter what I do, I'm never gonna surpass him. You know, I'm not going to surpass someone like Arguello in that thing, right? But you see, this is what I'm saying. I think these guys feel they bring these arguments in to tear down the other old timers to build up the new guys, and think that's the way going forward. And I think that is all wrong, and that is all wrong for me. You know what I mean? These guys here are going to be great. Let their career finish, and then we can judge them accordingly. But don't need to tear down the old to bring up the new. That's my thing.
Yeah,
you know?
and I tell you what, these new school casuals, what they fail to realize is that the sport of boxing has evolved, or I take that back. The sport of boxing has devolved, okay? It has regressed. Like, back in the day, like, it wasn't that fighting 2 times a year business. I mean, guys were fighting 2 times a month, okay? Every 2 weeks, guys were having fights. And, you know, in the old school, the way that you refined your craft was you had to actually go and fight, okay? And if you're fighting twice a month, you know, throughout the year, for years, well, what's going to happen is you're going to refine your craft. Why? Because you're always practicing your craft, and you're usually fighting against stiff opposition. So for you to excel in that environment, that means you have to be really, really sharp. You have to be exceptional. Okay, so when you look at a guy like Sugar Ray Robinson, who excelled under those circumstances, you have to give the man a tremendous amount of respect, because you know it wasn't easy back in those days. Okay, it wasn't easy.
Yeah, Coach, go ahead.
I agree.
I
agree.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's different. It's different. And so when it comes down to that, man, it's just a lot of opinion. But that's why you got to fight the fights. And like you said, you didn't fight 2 times a year. You fought 3-4 times, sometimes even more than that. And we're not getting to good conclusions fast enough either. So, for instance, Earl Spence, Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman, Kell Brook, and Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, and Danny Garcia, I think I might have missed Shawn Porter, one of them. But those 7, 6, 8 guys should have been thrown into the tournament. I don't give a damn if you're Mayweather. I don't give a damn if you're Pacquiao. It doesn't matter. Those guys didn't give an opportunity for the torch to be passed. See, De La Hoya, people got to realize, De La Hoya actually did the right thing. De La Hoya gave Pacquiao, Mayweather first, then Pacquiao an opportunity to fight him because they was in that pound for pound status. And, you know, they negotiated back and forth until they got it right. It wasn't ideal for Floyd. It wasn't ideal for Pacquiao, De La Hoya necessarily, but they made it happen. And then he passed the torch to them because both of them beat him. Floyd and Pacquiao, the torch didn't truly get passed to somebody else because they really kind of took a long time to fight each other. They weren't thrown in a tournament. We didn't see a true gauntlet with the new guys. You know what I'm saying? They started the game out, so that's just what happens.
Oh man, you make a really good point, because I'm thinking about the torch being passed to Marquez when he knocked out Pacquiao, right? And then Tim Bradley got the torch, and he just gave the torch back to Manny.
Right.
And then Jeff Horn got the torch, and then really he should have got the Pacquiao when Jeff Horn got the torch. after beating the Pacquiao. Then when Crawford beat him, ain't no one trying to say that. Ain't no one trying to say he passed the torch.
Right.
And you're 100% right. And you know why? Because it's not in their best interest to push Terence Crawford. And it goes back to what we hear again. They don't want to put him in that light, even though he just beat the man who beat the man. But he's like, okay, then even though Jeff Horn beat him, I beat Jeff Horn. Shit, I need to go back there and beat him to get my props, to get my attention, for me to make everyone understand that I'm that guy. But they don't, it's for some reason, they don't want him. I don't want that guy. I don't like him. I don't mind Lomachenko. Yeah, I don't mind him. Oh, I don't mind Usyk. Yeah, I don't mind him being up there. But we ain't going to have the Bud Crawford. Why?
Listen, that's the question that Crawford needs to be asking himself. Like, how in the hell? Now, Bud Crawford, Manny Pacquiao, both promoted by Top Rank, but somehow Jeff, I don't know who the hell, never heard of the man before Horn, gets a Pacquiao fight before Terence Crawford does.
Well, I think he was at a lower weight at the time. That's what I think he was at 140 at that time. He was just moving up. He just moved up after, you know what I mean? Oh, you're right, though. He should have got the fight, though, you know? You're right. He should have. And you know why? You know why? Because the guy had Australia and he sold at a stadium. And that's it. Yeah. And he sold at the stadium and Manny Pacquiao had the money. And this is what I'm trying to tell you when it comes down to it. Bob Arum, and this is what Floyd Mayweather said earlier on, because this interview, he's a Jewish guy. They love money. You see, the thing is, he's rich already, but he just loves to see, every time he looks at the bank out, see 50 mil, 20 mil. He likes the networks to say this, that, the other. Now, with Terence Bud Crawford, he blaming Terence Bud Crawford, but why are you blaming this Vasily Lomachenko, who you sent to England to do pay-per-views and that, and you didn't bring back no money? And no one's talking about this, by the way, except for Eddie Hearn. I heard him, right? He said that pay-per-view was awful. That guy doesn't sell. And Usyk doesn't sell. Usyk versus Derek Chisora was garbage. You guys don't even, no one in America and the UK have never talked about that. But if it was another fighter, I'm just going to say another fighter with a darker complexion, maybe they start talking, well, he didn't sell no tickets over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, that's an ish. Another thing is, well, if they really want to go that way, Anthony Joshua sells out stadiums, like pay-per-view sells off the charts. So what's going on there? What's going on there for them to say these sort of things that people don't sell, you know? And he's a different fighter. He's an exciting fighter. See, this is what I'm saying. There's an agenda here that really and truly is blocking great fights, blocking certain fighters. And these guys, these gatekeepers are messing up boxing. That's what they're doing, to be fair. They're messing up boxing. You know, I'm not saying Bob Arum should leave, but he should, at some point, he can't. He boxing is not him. Boxing was better before him, and it will be him here after him, and the great fights will happen. You know what I mean? Because then you're gonna get a charismatic promoter who's just gonna make great fights. Eddie Hearn wants to do that all the time, by the way, because he's rich already. You see, Eddie Hearn's got the mentality: I'm rich already. I just want to put on great fights. But then sometimes he doesn't want to. The only problem with Eddie Hearn, he doesn't like to spend money at all. He doesn't like to spend no money. Nothing. He doesn't like to spend money. That's the problem with him. Frank Warren, he'll make the great fights, but he doesn't like his fighters getting too much money. So you got a lot of this going on, man. These guys, these are all the gatekeepers of the sport. Well, Coach K looked like he dropped out. Let me see if he comes back in. But I always said final word. Final word, fight doctor, because I've ranted it along. Go ahead.
Final word. Bob Arum is a cancer to the sport. He needs to be cut out. Wow. Period. And if Terence Crawford is smart, if he wants to maximize his earning potential, if he wants to get the big fights, the meaningful fights, the legacy fights, if he wants to prove to the world that he really is the best fighter in the sport, then he needs to get the hell away from Bob Arum. Not today, not tomorrow, yesterday.
To this day. Leave Bob Arum. To this day. Take a look if you know the words. He needs to love. If you know the words, yeah, he needs to leave Bob Arum too. I'm EJ Boxing Live, and I'll catch you the next one. Peace.
Peace.